Well, joined in studio by an old friend, Mr. Matt Chipman. He's the editor-in-chief of the Green Baron Report. Matt, always good to see you.
Glad to be here again, Don.
Well, Matt, you probably noticed there's a lot less traffic on the road with all the government workers on furlough staying home. But, let's get into what this is doing to the financial markets, because you listen to the administration in the White House. This is the worst thing that could possibly happen, but yet the markets seem to be just shrugging it off.
I don't think the market's reacting at all to the government shutdown. The initial reaction was actually very, very positive. If you want to blame that on the government shutdown, the market rallied significantly a couple of days ago. We have some weakness as we're talking right now, and I think that has more to do with some of the numbers that came out. We had a drop in the amount in some of the business numbers, the productivity, the service industry apparently didn't book as much. Right. So you have the market reacting to a number of different things. There's been so many positive things going on in the market that has kept the Dow and kept the bigger stocks continuing to roll forward. You know,
right.
I mean, we've spoken about this before, that low interest rates and the large companies were in a perfect position to grow significantly. So those companies have really, with carrying low interest rates and low debt, have been able to really thrive, especially, that they've squeezed out a lot of their competitors.
You're absolutely right. Now, of course, the Federal Reserve not too long ago decided not to taper off its buying of approximately $85 billion of bonds and other purchasable assets. I think the markets welcomed that news. I think we would have probably seen a tremendous amount of selling off if they had announced that there was going to be a tapering off. Well,
I mean, I have mixed feelings about what the government's been doing about the repurchases and how they're kind of manhandling the market. It is a little bit of a scary thing. It's the one thing we just don't know what's going to happen if the economy doesn't really pick up and grow and generate more activity. It's a question: how are we going to pay back all these debts? And that's my biggest concern. As we roll forward, I think, but the markets, are not getting damaged too much by this whole government thing. That's for sure.
No, I don't think so, and I don't think we've been through this before. I mean, it was closed several times during the Clinton and the Reagan administration. We survived, but for some reason it seems like the mainstream media is on this like it's the worst thing to happen in the history of mankind.
Well, we can argue about where the media and how they want to picture things for the most part. I mean, you've definitely got a slant there as to protect who's in office. The healthcare issue is something that is not going to go away. And I think everyone's, nobody's going to be exactly happy with the way it goes. Obviously, it wasn't necessarily working before, costs going up like they have. I wish that they would allow healthcare companies to compete over state lines.
Exactly.
Let them compete and let the market show. But if they don't allow them to do that, I have a company where my partners don't live in the same state. So we can't get a coverage for our company, for my two partners, because we're all in 3 different states. It's impossible. The coverage we get isn't realistic. So if they'd have let that happen, we probably would have had something that we could have lived with. But
well, the nation was promised that if you like your health care plan, you can keep it. And yet 58,000 people in California got a letter on Monday saying that their coverage is being canceled January 1st because of the Affordable Care Act. So all of these promises that were made are not being kept. I mean, it's really it's a conundrum.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm one of those people. I'm one of those. So right now I don't have health care coverage after December 31st. We have looked into the different plans, and I can speak from our own research. If you make under a certain amount of money, you'd only pay this much for the Obamacare plans. But somebody who's middle class that might make a little bit more, they got to pay significantly more. Wow. So I don't think I'm getting the same coverage as somebody who's making a lot less. I don't think that's really fair. I don't know. I mean, what do you think?
Well, it's not fair at all. Now, of course, we're talking about people probably needing to make more money to pay for their new health care plan. Talk about the Green Baron. We're almost out of time, but if people want to know more about what you do, tell us.
No problem. Go to thegreenbaron.com. We're coming out with a new trading alert on Monday. So join now. You get this alert. I think you're looking at a short-term, probably a tradable gain here of at least 40 to 50%. So join. You can always unsubscribe anytime, but it's a great way to learn about the market, learn about great stock ideas.
The Green Baron Report, Matt Chipman, Editor-in-Chief. Always a pleasure to talk about economic things with you, Matt. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you having me in.